I stood on the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of it with 7 heads and 10 horns. Revelation 13. If any chapter in the Bible tempts us to grab someone else's chart and just believe it, it's this one. But Acts 17 verse 11 describes a better way. The Bereans were called noble for 2 things. They received the word with all readiness of mind, and they searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so. This is a walkthrough of a free tool built for exactly that kind of study. It's called the Berean Dashboard. It runs in your browser. It costs nothing, there's no account and no ads. And today we're going to put it through a real workout. Revelation 13 with Daniel 7 and Ezekiel 38 open beside it. First, the lay of the land. Across the top, pick any book, chapter, and verse, or just type a reference like John 3:16 and hit open. The middle is scripture, up to 3 translations side by side. Today that's the King James, the World English Bible, and Young's Literal. 3 honest, public domain texts, and where they differ is usually where it's worth slowing down. On the right is the workbench, a lexicon for Hebrew and Greek word study. Your notes, a shelf of classic commentaries called Deeper and Search. And down in the footer, remember that little version number in the corner. Your work saves on your own device, and we'll come back to what that means. One quick setup tip before we dig in. On a Mac or Windows machine, Chrome and Edge will offer to install the dashboard as an app. 1 click, and it gets its own icon and its own window. No tabs, no address bar, nothing on the screen but the word. On iPad or iPhone, the wording is different. Open the Share menu in Safari and tap Add to Home Screen. Same result. And on Apple devices, it also gives your saved notes the strongest protection the device offers. Why does the app window matter? Here's the Eschatology workbench. 3 windows of the same app. Daniel 7 on the left. 4 beasts rising from the sea. Revelation 13 in the center. A beast rising from the sea with the leopard, the bear, and the lion of Daniel's vision folded into one. Ezekiel 38 on the right. Gog, Magog, and the nations gathered against Israel. These chapters interpret each other, and now they're all open at once, each window holding its own place, and they share one thing: the notes. One study, I've called it Eschatology, is open in all 3 windows. In the Daniel window, I'll take a note. 4 beasts from the sea. Revelation 13 folds all 4 into one. Now look at the Revelation window. Same note, already there. The windows share the study live, right under Daniel, and it's waiting for you under Revelation. The notebook follows the classic inductive method. Observation, what does the text say? Interpretation, what does it mean? Application, what must change in me? 3 tabs, so the order stays honest. And marking, select any phrase and a palette appears. 6 colors, and the legend is yours to define. I use sky blue for a key repeated word, and the sea is certainly that this morning. The marks live in the study too, so every window sees them. The notes take simple formatting: bold, italics, lists, verse references, with a toolbar if you don't want to remember any of it. Toggle the preview and you see the finished page, your raw shorthand above, the formatted study below. There's a full screen mode when the writing gets serious. Editor on the left, preview on the right, the whole width of the window. Everything you're seeing becomes the printed study sheet at the end. Now, the part I care about most. The dashboard was built first for people who find reading and typing hard work. I built it for my youngest brother. He's dyslexic, and a wall of small text costs him something it doesn't cost me. So the whole app talks and listens. Tap Listen, and the chapter is read aloud while the text highlights along. Your notes can be read back to you. And the microphone works everywhere. Dictate a note instead of typing it. or speak a question instead of spelling it. Speed and pauses are yours to set. If reading is easy for you, this is a convenience. If it isn't, this is the whole ballgame. You don't need seminary Greek to check a word. Turn on the originals column, and the Greek text of Revelation sits right beside your English. That word for beast, pharion, tap it. The lexicon opens. Strong's 2342. A wild animal, a beast of prey, not a domestic animal. The word itself is telling you something about this kingdom. Tap the speaker, and you'll hear it pronounced. Same in the Old Testament. In Ezekiel, the Hebrew sits beside the English. Tap Gog, tap any word, and the lexicon does the digging. 2 taps from English to the original language. Every word in the Bible. When you've done your own observation, and only then, the deeper tab brings in witnesses. 6 classic commentaries, each one taken to the exact chapter you have open. John Gill, Matthew Henry, Jameson Fawcett Brown, the Tyndale Open Study Notes, Adam Clark, Keel and Delitzsch. Tap a card and you're reading. Tap a verse number in the text and the commentary jumps to that verse. And one more voice. At the foot of the list, there's a link. David Guzik on Revelation 13. His commentary is excellent, and it's read on his own site, Enduring Word. That's their request, and this app honors it. 1 tap, and his chapter study opens in a new window beside your own work. The Search tab does 2 jobs. Search finds a word or phrase anywhere in Scripture. Here's beast, across both Testaments, and every result is a link that takes you there. And then there's Count It, which answers a different question honestly. Not where does the Bible say it, but how many times, in exactly what words. It counts by actually scanning the text, measured, not remembered. So when someone tells you a word appears some tidy number of times, you can check it yourself. The Bereans would have loved this button. At the end of the day, your work is yours. 1 tap prints the whole study as a clean PDF. Scripture references, your marks, your observation, interpretation, and application, formatted like a study sheet you could hand out on Wednesday night. Word format opens in Word, Pages, or Google Docs. And the MD export is your backup. It's the one format the app can read back in, so a study can move between devices. But here's the everyday truth. You don't have to do any of that. Close the app. Open it tomorrow. Everything is exactly where you left it. Your notes never leave your own device. There's no server copy, no account, and nobody reading over your shoulder. That's the Berean Dashboard. It's free, it stays free, and it was built on one conviction, that ordinary people can study extraordinary Scripture, carefully, honestly, and for themselves. Revelation 13 ends its hardest passage with a word to the church. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Patience and faith do their work in the text, day by day. The link is below, bereandashboard.pages.dev. Open it, pick a chapter, and search the Scriptures daily, whether those things are so. I'm Ed Smith, and this has been a Smith for Christ walkthrough.